In the world of maritime, there are different kinds of ships or vessels, all classified based on the type of cargo that they carry. For instance, there are dry cargo ships such as your bulk carriers, your container vessels, or the very popular ro-ro vessels for transporting fleets of automobiles on one ship. We also have liquid cargo ships for carrying crude, chemicals, liquefied gas, and other products. Lastly, there are the specialized cargo ships for passengers, livestock, heavy-duty equipment, and even the tugboats that we find around our ports that help mighty vessels navigate their way along the various sensitive quaysides. Now you see how huge the maritime industry is, just taking a look at the ships that ply the oceans all across the world. Hello and welcome to yet another exciting episode of your favorite nautical authoritative. It's NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime. This program is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, the nation's apex regulator and promoter of all things shipping in Nigeria. My name is Ubong Isien, and it's my pleasure to be your guide on this voyage.
My name is Chief Dr. George Moralo.
Senator Binta Masi Garba.
Is Rollins McFoy, the President of Women in Maritime Nigeria.
You are watching NIMASA This Week.
You are watching NIMASA This Week.
NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime.
The voice of maritime.
The voice of the maritime industry.
The voice of the maritime.
NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime, showing on these stations.
Welcome back. It's still NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime. And on today's episode, we begin as always with the Director General's diary. We have Know Your Conventions, some of the general happenings in the Nigerian maritime space, and our other regulars. So if you're ready, it's anchors away.
Our world-class Maritime Experience Center is now live, announcing Maritime Stakeholders Experience Contact Center, MSECC, where you'll get simple, fast, and tailored solutions to all your maritime challenges on maritime safety, maritime labor, marine pollution, search and rescue, cabotage issues, ship registration, training and certification, and other maritime-related issues. Contact us via the following channels: 23401-630-9590. Email us at contactcenter@nimasa.gov.ng, info@nimasa.gov.ng. Chat with us www.nimasa.gov.ng, and on Facebook at NIMASA Official. Let's resolve all your maritime related issues. The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency and the Nigerian Immigration Service have agreed to deepen existing interagency collaboration with the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding on seafarers' travel documents, amongst other things. The agreement was reached when the Controller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Mr. Issa Idris Jere, led some senior officials of the service on a working visit to the management of NIMASA recently in Lagos. The NIMASA DG, Dr. Bashir Jamo, in his address, stated that the Nigerian Immigration Service was a critical enabler in boosting marine security and that the country's efforts to develop the maritime industry depended heavily on the timely and efficient issuing of necessary travel documents to seafarers and other maritime workers.
For me, I don't think if you are a guest here or you are a visitor here, it's going to be very difficult for us to operate without the Nigerian Navy. and the Nigerian Immigration Service. The issue of travel documents of our CPRs, the issue of immigrants that do come here to conduct one thing or the other in terms of maritime business, it can never be possible without the Nigerian Immigration Service. And if you look at the history of the service, as far back as when they are just a department attached to the Nigerian police, I think the Department of Immigration Service sometimes in 1968, and then later in 1963 when they were, removed as a department, up to the extent in 1992 when the major reforms. At that time in 1963, if I can get my history correct, the leadership of the immigration was designated as the director only. So this will give me comfort to align my own thinking and the area of collaboration that we have to do.
The two agencies of government, through the instrumentality of their leaders, thus agreed to develop a memorandum of understanding to provide a framework and direction for a mutual beneficial working relationship. JAMO lauded the contribution of the Nigerian Immigration Service in the implementation of the Suppression of Piracy and Other Maritime Offences SPOMO Act 2019, stressing that such was sacrosanct for maritime industry growth and development.
Before we came here, I was given a draft copy of our MOU with the Immigration Service, which ought to have been signed in 2021. But when the Controller General looked at it, the three members appeared as the joint committee that's supposed to look at the Memorandum of Understanding in terms of signing that agreement. He discovered all the three, they were retired. So only the NIMASA officials remain as the members of the leadership. Even the leadership, the chairman of the committee in this agency is also now retired. The vice chairman, who is here with me as the director of cabotage services, she's the one that drew my attention and gave me the documents that this is where we are. The MC made mention successes in terms of maritime security that has been achieved not only by the agency but also by the support of the Nigerian Navy and other armed forces and paramilitary. In the team, we have the Nigerian Navy, we have the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, we have the Nigerian Customs Service, we have the NDLE, we have the Marine Police, Civil Defense. They are also there.
In his remarks, the immigration boss cited the issuance of temporary work permits to foreign vessel crews as well as preventing stowaways as areas of frequent collaboration between both agencies of government. He also commended NIMASA's automation of dock workers' registration nationwide, noting that such would complement the service process of seafarers' information verification for ease and speed of immigration papers to them.
For us in NIS, our blue borders operational areas cut across the sea borders, where we undertake the following activities among others: crew examination and control, signing on, signing off, embarking and disembarking vessels, crews, stowaway control, processing of temporary work permits, handling of passport referral cases, citing of passport for consignees, disembarking, transiting crew members, granting of shore passes to deserving crews, stakeholder engagement. To successfully carry out our mandate of migration management and border control activities within the maritime environment, the service regularly intensifies collaboration with the following stakeholders: NIMASA, MPA, the Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Shippers Council, Nigerian Customs Service, Nigerian Police Force, DSS, NDLA, terminal operators, and other stakeholders. To say that our operations engagement with these agencies have been quite enriching is an understatement. What we do is that we live to see a healthier and more rewarding relationship and partnership among the agencies to allow for a more robust, coordinated approach to safeguard our maritime territory for enhanced socio-economic development.
The NIMASA DG appreciated the Controller General and members of the Nigerian Immigration Service for their contributions and dedication to the success of the maritime industry. The Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Dr. Bashir Jamo, has averred that effective policing is an essential component of the development and growth process of the Nigerian maritime sector. Jamo stated this during a courtesy visit to the agency's management by Assistant Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Kaoje. In an assurance message to the Inspector General of Police, Akali Baba Usman, the DG reiterated NIMASA's commitment to complement the efforts of the Maritime Police Command in ensuring safe and secure shipping within the Nigerian water corridors.
It is not in the place of the leadership of the agency to remind the Marine Police their own functions. Most of the things I mentioned is just a reminder or a reference to what the AIG mentioned. On our part, I want to assure you that we will do our best to ensure that we complement your own efforts in ensuring that we have safe and secure shipping within the Nigerian territorial waters. Another disturbing thing has to do with the number of accidents that we have been receiving in our own inland waterways. Part of the functions of the Marine Police is to ensure safe and secure inland waterways. Now, from my understanding, the Marine Police, they have more than 20 states presence in the country. So if you have offices like in 20 states, there is no state that doesn't have inland waterways in it. I think if you can help in assisting to impose the issue of safety and checking boats as well as those captains of the small crafts, it will go a long way to reduce the number of accidents we have been recording in our own inland waterways.
Jamo commended the delegation and the entire Maritime Command of the police force, noting that a symbiotic relationship between NIMASA and other institutions of government in Nigeria was necessary to guarantee the safety and security of maritime corridors, hence further promoting ease of doing business in the country in line with the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council.
We are having a renewal of the relationship with the Nigerian police, not in the general concept, but in a specific concept as it relates to maritime security. And I believe at the end of the day, your presence here will ginger the operation and the strategies that we will have to adopt in addressing the issues that concerns the anchorage areas attacks that we do experience from those hoodlums that used to stay maybe on the other side of the sea, and early morning or late night they go and attack our vessels. Not only that, we just received a report 2 days ago that a Chinese vessel had about 12 stowaways in their vessels, and they threw them away into the sea. And in the course of doing that, 2 Nigerians were killed at the Liberia territorial water. We are still conducting investigations on that. As soon as we complete the investigations, I think this is the right time now to involve the Marine Police in such investigations so that we will have a robust approach in terms of what we are going to do.
Also, the DG noted that Nigeria was improving her capacity to fight maritime crime by procuring and deploying state-of-the-art maritime technology, upgrading human capacity for effective service delivery, and deployment of assets for round-the-clock patrol, data gathering, information sharing, interdiction, and reconnaissance, and that there was the need for the police personnel to be part of the implementation and enforcement process. In his remarks, the Police AIG Maritime Command, Ibrahim Kaoje, noted that his command was in NIMASA to fraternize with the agency and to also chart a path of possible partnership and collaboration, as well as inform NIMASA of the command's plans and activities. He noted that a strong conjoint relationship between NIMASA and the Nigerian police force was necessary to ensure a safe and secure maritime environment, and that his team was ready to support the agency to realize its enabling mandates.
If the land is saturated, there's no peace in the land. Water is having the problem now because everybody is shifting, the economy is shifting to the maritime section. So we need to go a long way. Even at least of last 2 weeks, we lost 2 men in Port Harcourt. 2 for piracy, they attacked them. They have fired, they took 2 of their rifles. The Navy, they are fine, very, very fine in our cooperation. So that is why collaboration is very important. With these areas, you are saying there is going to be a constant attack. Let us have an intelligence, because intelligence sharing is very important. These are key issues. So we just plan for operation, both the marine and everything, so that the Navy, then we go and storm the area, because there is nobody who commits a crime. The crime is within the area, within the vicinity. So they will just go and, if they do an operation once and for all, that will go a long way.
The DG appreciated the efforts in taking out time to get together and brainstorm ways to improve the services and operations of the Maritime Police, and he assured them that NIMASA will continue to do its best.
Hello viewers, welcome again to the Know Your Convention segment on NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime. Today we'll be speaking on the convention that regulates salvage operations, and to have that conversation with me is Captain Nazif Mohammed. You're welcome to this segment, sir.
Thank you for having me here.
And also Captain Kennedy Fiemotonga. You're also welcome to this segment.
Thank you for having me on the program.
Okay, since we'll be speaking on salvage, can you please give us what exactly salvage is about?
Well, basically, salvage is the process of rescue or recovering a vessel from danger of total loss. It can come in the form of towing, refloating, and carrying out major repairs on the ship.
Okay, and then what's the full convention that regulates the
salvage? The convention that regulates salvage is International Convention for Salvage, 1989.
Okay. Captain Kennedy, the International Convention, what exactly does it seek to address? What is the objective of this convention?
The objective for the International Convention for Salvage is to ensure that there is uniformity of rules guiding the activities of salvage operations.
Okay. Since we have this uniformity of laws, and I want to believe that this convention is part of Nigerian maritime laws, so when there's an incident on a vessel, what exactly happens? What is the role of the owner of the vessel? What actions does it take?
Well, basically, when a ship is in need of a salvo and is sailing within our territorial waters or coastal waters, he will now raise and call the Maritime Rescue Coordination Center. The Maritime Rescue Coordination Center will be the point where he will be able to be assigned a salvo, the contact of a salvo that is closest to him, depending on the nature of incidents that is at hand at that particular time. So
the contact information on the Maritime Rescue Coordination Center, is it usually available to all vessels plying our coastal waters?
The contact information of salvos is only in the database of the MRCC, but on request, we can give it out to any ship owner that is in need of salvo at that particular time.
When he contacts you?
Yeah, when
okay.
he contacts the MRCC.
All right. So, Captain Kennedy, when the salvo is assigned to a ship owner in distress, what exactly does the salvo do? What happens between the salvo and the ship owner?
Yeah, NIMASA only give a list of salvos that are closest to the ship owner. And the salvo...
At the time where the incident is happening?
At the time, yes.
Okay.
So the contract is between the salvo and the ship, which is represented by the master of the ship. Okay. And there are certain forms in the convention where the ship owner and the salvo can go into. So the extent and the application of whatever agreement they go into depends on which form they sign.
Okay, so these forms regulate the terms and conditions of the salvage contract. What forms are these? Are these forms available on the website, or is it the salvo that brings these forms?
Yeah, these forms are available on the website, the Lloyd's form, open form for salvos to use in case the need arises.
So is it the salvo that determines the form that will be signed between the salvo and the agency?
The Lloyd's form, you know, it is an agreement, it's a contract between both parties. So they have to agree on which form to use so that they will know the extent of what their responsibilities are in the terms of...
So both parties determine which of the forms they intend to use. All right. Captain Nazir, what exactly is the role of NIMASA during a salvage operation?
Well, basically, NIMASA, the role we carry out during salvage operation is to ensure that the marine environment is intact. We approve the plan before the salvo commences the salvage operation to see if it is safe to carry out that salvage operation.
Okay, so there's a plan that must be forwarded to the NIMASA agency to see if that plan...
Yeah, you forward the plan to us, and once we check the plan and see that that our marine environment is not affected, there's no danger to navigation, then we approve it and monitor to ensure that you don't pollute our environment or cause any damage to our marine environment. If such happens, then you may forfeit part of your reward or even the entire reward itself.
Okay, so the salvo in the process of the salvage operations must take cognizance of the environment. Correct. Now, when the environment is not taken into cognizance and is polluted, there's no payment for the salvo?
Yeah, he may forfeit part of his payment or even all. In the 1910 Brussels Convention on Salvage, it's based on the principle of no cure, no pay. At that time, if you engage on a salvage operation, if you don't succeed in the salvage operation, you are not entitled to anything. But in the 1989 International Convention on Salvage, which entered into force in 1996, it gives, Article 13 talks about special compensation, where a salvo is entitled to compensation even if he was not successful in salvaging the vessel, but because of his skills, he was able to control and prevent pollution of the marine environment at that time and other damage to the marine environment. So he's entitled to a reward under the special compensation.
So regardless of if the salvage operations were successful or not. So first, that is as much as we can take today on the International Convention for Salvage. Until next week when we bring you the concluding parts, please stay tuned as NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime, continues.
Welcome back. It's still NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime. And without much ado, let's check out some of the conversations currently trending online. Let's keep these conversations going. The DG's Twitter handle is @JamoBashir. You can also extend that conversation to us at NIMASA Official. However, when it comes to doing business in the Nigerian maritime space, be it core shipping, agency services, dock labor, maritime education, maritime security, you name it, keep in mind that there are rules to be followed, because this maritime industry is a highly regulated one, and NIMASA remains the prefect, the official and apex regulator of all the goings-on in the Nigerian maritime domain. So all you need to do is make the NIMASA official website, currently showing on your screen, your first port of call. Ships and ships. That is what makes maritime go round. That is what makes maritime meaningful. And they come in various shapes and sizes, having different utilities. Indeed, in the world of shipping, there is variety. And as we all know, variety is the spice of life. Here is hoping you've enjoyed your time with us on NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime. As we look forward to seeing you next time, my name remains Ubong Essien, saying to you as always, stay on course. Bye-bye.